Yo quiero más family. Hi guys, welcome back to our channel. It's been a minute since we posted another video for you guys, so I figured today we would go a little bit low-key and give you a small recipe that you guys can follow along if you really want to. Today we're gonna be making Oreo cheesecake. I really love Oreos, and cheesecake is just one of my favorite desserts, so I figured I would just marry the two and make best of both worlds. So if you haven't already, go ahead and subscribe down below. Give us a comment about what is your favorite type of cheesecake, and like the video if you haven't done so already. So for today's recipe, I'm following this crazy for crust recipe that you can find online. I'll go ahead and link it down below if you still want to follow it from there. Some cream cheese, Cool Whip, granulated sugar, and of course your Oreos. And then some vanilla extract just to add a little bit more flavor. To start off the recipe, you're gonna go ahead and open up your Oreo package. Go ahead and grab your Oreo cookies and try to separate it from the cream center. The cream center is gonna be used in a later part of this video, so go ahead and save those, put those to the side. The Oreo cookie you're gonna be using for the crust if you don't have a crust already pre-made. Try to scrape off as much of the Oreo center as you can from the cookie, just so that way you can get a smoother, more even crust. So once you have your Oreos separated, you can go ahead and place them in a Ziploc bag. I made the mistake of using a really crappy one, so go ahead and try to get just a Ziploc bag that's going to be a little bit better. I would also recommend using a blender, which you'll see me use later on in this video because of this crust situation that I got going on. I was not able to smash them correctly with my hands. I even grabbed the pan so that I could smash it as well. It wasn't really working out. The bag was creating a lot of holes, so I really just had to work with what I had at the moment. But later in the video, you'll see the blender come into play. So once you got your Oreo crust, you're gonna go ahead and put it in your pan. Try to cover as much of the bottom as possible. I really thought this was gonna work, but I do end up going in again with my hands trying to crush as much of the Oreos as I can. And then you'll go ahead and grab your butter from the fridge. It doesn't really matter what kind of butter you use. Try not to get a janky looking spoon to grab your butter from your container. That is a small mistake that I made, but go ahead and put about a tablespoon, maybe two, depending on how big your crust is. Then you'll put it in the microwave. I put it in at a melting setting for just a few seconds. I would say about 30 seconds. Make sure you keep your eye on it because butter does like to pop, and it's not really supposed to pop or boil. So just keep a really close eye on the butter when it's in the microwave. Once it's out of the microwave, it's cooled down just enough to where it's not hot to the touch. You're gonna go ahead and combine that with the Oreo crumbs. This is where I went ahead and added my Oreo crumbs and butter back to my blender. Please try not to add the butter into the blender. It just makes it really difficult to really get a fine powder with your Oreos. You can see where I really had to use some force with my hand just to get things moving in there. Once your Oreos are at that fine powdery stage, go ahead and put them inside of your cake round. You can go ahead and either use your fingers, a spoon, whatever you feel like you need to use to really press them down into the cake tin. Since I didn't have enough Oreos to cover the bottom, I went ahead and I added about 10 more Oreos to the blender. Just added a little bit more butter to that. Alrighty, so now that the crust is done, we're gonna go ahead and put it in the refrigerator to chill while we go ahead and make our cheesecake base. For the filling, you're gonna need cream cheese, the Oreo centers from earlier that I had told you to save, some sugar, and whipped cream. So you're gonna add 1/4 cup of sugar into a mixing bowl. Go ahead and add room temperature cream cheese, not cream cheese straight from the freezer. It's just gonna make everything so much easier to mix and combine. Add your Oreo cream filling and give it a good mix. You really want this to be as smooth as possible. You're not going to get it 100% smooth, but just try to get it as smooth as possible. Now, once you get it to a really nice and smooth consistency, you're going to add your Cool Whip. Once you add the Cool Whip is also room temperature. Once you go ahead and add that to your filling, make sure it's evenly combined with your hand whisk. You can always use a stand mixer if you don't really feel like mixing for a really long time. I just preferred it this way. I forgot to mention this earlier in the recipe, but you should definitely add some vanilla extract just to give it a little bit more flavor. Go ahead and add this in during this step, so that way you can mix it in, make sure everything is combined before you start adding extra ingredients. Once you have everything in a nice even layer, you can go ahead and decorate with as many Oreos as you want. I wish I had saved just a few more Oreos for this part, but I think that it gave us a good variety of pieces with Oreo and then pieces without Oreo, the Oreo cookie. Once you're done with that, you can go ahead and put it in the refrigerator. You can leave it overnight, which is what I did, or you can go ahead and just leave it in there for an hour.